It is Wednesday. It is the 1st of May. I'm Monita Rajpal. This is CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. Making news today. The human cost was immediately apparent, and now financial implications are adding to Bangladesh's sorrow. The deadly building collapse last week could mean serious financial repercussions for Bangladesh. Its biggest trade partner, the European Union, says it is considering taking action to try to force the government to improve working conditions there. As the ILO chief there, Guy Ryder, speaking, and the Pope has also weighed in on the situation, condemning what he called slave labor in Bangladesh. More than 400 people are confirmed dead from last week's disaster, and many more are still missing. Journalist David Bergman joins us now from Dhaka. David, I'm interested to hear what you think. We're hearing now that the EU is considering incentivizing what they're calling responsible management of supply chains. But the thing is, this is a huge industry. It's not new. The kind of conditions that these workers have had to work in is not new. So I guess, am I being too cynical into thinking, why is the EU wanting to take action now? Should they not have taken action a long time ago?
Well, I think it has to be noted that action has been taken by brands.
People around the world are joining marches to demonstrate on May Day. It's a traditional day for commemorating workers' rights. In Turkey, riot police have used tear gas and water cannon against protesters trying to reach Taksim Square, the center of May Day demonstrations in past years. The government says the square is off limits this year because it is under renovation and unsafe for large gatherings. 2 government buildings remain under siege in the Libyan capital, Tripoli. Armed men in trucks mounted with anti-aircraft guns are blocking off access to the foreign ministry for a 4th day. There was chaos on the floor of the Congress in Venezuela Tuesday night. Opposition lawmakers say they were told not to speak until they recognize the presence of Nicolas Maduro. Well, things got pretty out of hand, as you'll see there, as each side accused the other of being out of order. The opposition has demanded a full recount of presidential election votes because of allegations of widespread fraud. Several people have been killed in 2 deadly attacks in the Russian Republic of Dagestan. The government says a suicide bombing in the capital of Makashkala left at least 2 people dead, and 3 police officers were killed in an attack in a different city. Well, Nick Robertson joins us now live on the phone from Dagestan's capital, Makashkala, with more on that. Nick, what more can you tell us?
Well, the police right now are trying to figure out whether or not this is a suicide bombing attack or whether a bomb has been placed close.
Right, Nick, thank you for that. Nick Robertson reporting to us there. A terrifying 90-minute ride with the Boston bombing suspects, and he lived to tell the tale. A carjacked driver identified only as Danny for safety reasons is speaking out about his ordeal. You are watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. Coming up, he says it's no longer doing the U.S. any good. Why President Obama is renewing his commitment to close the prison at Guantanamo Bay. We're watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. I'm Monita Rajpal. Expensive, inefficient, and damaging America's reputation. President Obama says the U.S. detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, is doing U.S. interests more harm than good. And as the majority of detainees continue on hunger strike, Mr. Obama renewed his commitment to shut it down. Ryder is legal director of a UK-based charity called Reprieve, which works to protect prisoners' legal rights. She represents 15 Guantanamo detainees, and she joins us now from our London newsroom. Corey, thank you very much for being with us. Those words that we heard there from U.S. President Obama must be music to your ears.
We're delighted that in week 12 of the hunger strike, President Obama has finally woken up and figured out that this is a crisis.
Corey Ryder there, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate that. We may be just hours away from a second German side winning through to the Champions League final. Let's switch gears a little bit here, but it's news outside of Germany that has the football world talking right now. Let's take it to Amanda Davis in London with more details on that. Hello, Amanda. All right, we'll check in with Amanda a little bit later on here on News Center. We'll be right back with much more. Stay with us. You are watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. Let's try that again. Let's go to our Amanda Davis in London to talk a little bit about a second German side potentially winning through to the Champions League final. But apparently, Amanda, it is news outside of Germany that has the football world talking.
Yeah, there's lots of repercussions from Tuesday night's game in Spain. We'll come on to Wednesdays in a moment. But the big question this morning is what next for Monita? It's one of those days. Most of the sports story is coming out of Spain. Alex Thomas is just travelling from Madrid to Barcelona for us, and we'll be speaking to him live a little bit later on for updates on all those big stories coming out of Spain at the moment.
Excellent. We've been catching up with his tweets too, so we appreciate that. Amanda, thank you very much for that. Amanda Davis joining us there live from London. Now, Western India is suffering the worst drought in 4 decades. Riverbeds and lakes are now dried up and shriveled, ravaged by the lack of water in the region. Malika Kapoor shows that as people wait for rain and relief, the disaster is taking a toll on the lives of many.
Vasudev Munde moved to Mumbai 4 months ago. His daily routine consists of a short walk to this corner, then a long wait.
Well, let's get a check on the weather in that region. And let's go to our meteorologist, Mari Ramos, at the World Weather Center with an outlook and an update there, Mari.
You know, so much of what Malika said there is important because of the monsoon rains. The monsoon rains is what has to happen, and that's where they get their rainfall. If the rainfall during the monsoon season is not it's not good, well, we have these problems later on in the season, even during the dry season. In that area of Maharashtra, they did get below average rainfall last year, even though overall across India, they did have average rainfall when it came to the monsoon, but it was a very erratic monsoon. You know, when we talk about climate change and how these things can affect what's happening in India, you got to remember that India, the agriculture there is so consistent and dependent on this rainfall.
Goodness, Mari, thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. You are watching CNN News Center. I'm Monita Rajpal live at CNN Hong Kong. Thank you for joining us. We'll, of course, update you with the news headlines in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us.